Now I want to reference this other book. It's called Crania Americana, a comparative view, skulls of various Aboriginal nations of North and South America. So I wanted to kind of belly flop to page 68. It says, a copper-colored skin has been assumed by most writers as a characteristic distinction of the Americans, who have hence been called the copper-colored race. Alright, copper-colored race. The investigations of Dr. McCullough satisfactorily prove that this designation is wholly inapplicable to the Americans as a race, and that it is more characteristic of some other and very remote nations. Error has obviously arisen from the habitual use among many tribes of red paint to a brown skin, which occasions a coppery hue. Humboldt declares that the denomination of copper-colored men could never have originated in the equinoctial regions to designate the Americans, and I can further testify that among the individuals of many different tribes that have come under my observation, I have never seen a copper-colored man. Says him. We consider, therefore, says Dr. McCullough, that the color of the American Indians in general is brown. Right? What's the difference? Copper-colored brown, differing in intensity with various tribes according to various localities, but that it is almost impossible to say what that brown color principally resembles. The cinnamon is, in my apprehension, the nearest approach to it, though still too inaccurate for general comparison. So cinnamon, copper-colored, very similar, I would say. I fully coincide in opinion with Dr. McCullough and believe with him that no epithet derivable from the color of the skin so correctly designates the Americans collectively as that of the brown race. Again, the brown race. Alright? Although the Americans thus possess a pervading and characteristic complexion, there are occasional and very remarkable deviations, including all the tints from a decided white to an unequivocally black skin. There you go. Black skin. The American nations, or outlines of a national history of the ancient and modern nations of North and South America. This book is from 1836. All right. It says there were formerly in America, as now, tribes of all complexions as elsewhere: yellowish, olive, coppery, tawny, reddened, brown, incarnate, or white, and even blackened or Negro-like. Again, blackened or Negro-like. How much more correlation do we need? Continues, says, tall and dwarfish men from 8 to 4 feet in size, called giants and pygmies, men with various frames, skulls, and features of all the sorts found in the Eastern Hemisphere. American anthropography will teach that there were men of all sizes, features, and complexions in this hemisphere before 1492, notwithstanding the false assertions of many writers who take one nation for the whole American group. The Ushiks, the Puruais, the Parias, the Chongs, etc., were as white as the Spaniards. 50 such tribes were found in South America, while many tribes of Choco, the Manabis, the Yaruras, and etc., were as black as Negroes, right? They were as black as Negroes. All the other shades of brown, tawny, and coppery were scattered everywhere. It says here, there was not a single red man in America, unless painted such. This book is called An Inquiry into the Distinctive Characteristics of the Aboriginal Race of America by Samuel George Morton. All right, so we're going to go into this book. So it says physical characteristics. All possess alike the long, lank, black hair, the brown or cinnamon colored skin, again, brown or cinnamon colored skin, the heavy brow, the dull and sleepy eye, the full and compressed lips, again, full and compressed lips, and the salient but dilated nose. And continuing in the very next page, it says here, it cannot be questioned that physical diversities do occur, equally singular and inexplicable, as seen in different shades of color, varying from a fair tint to a complexion almost black. Again, from a fair tint to almost black, and this too under circumstances in which climate can have little or no influence. So also in reference to stature, the differences are remarkable in entire tribes, which moreover are geographically proximate to each other. These facts, however, are mere exceptions to a general rule. Okay, so you're saying this is an exception, though, to a general rule, and do not alter the peculiar physiognomy of the Indian, which is undividingly characteristics as that of the Negro. All right, so again, he's saying that you cannot doubt that the Indian undividingly has characteristic of that of the Negro. For whether we see him in the athletic Charib or Carib, right, athletic again, or the stunned Chima in the dark Californian, again, dark Californian, or the fair Boroa, he is an Indian still and cannot be mistaken for being of any other race. He's not African. He's clearly telling you, even though they have these Negro characteristics and they're clearly, like the dark Californian, athletic Charibs, they are not African or from any other place. They are Indian and cannot be mistaken for being of any other race. All right? I will read from this book now, Race Relations in Virginia and the Miscegenation in the South, 1776 to 1860 by James Hugo Johnston. It says, in all the southern states there are found to be records of cases sent to the courts of appeals in which the litigants attempt to show that they are descendants of Indians and not of Negroes, and hence that they do not fall subject to the slave code. So you can see that from even a long time ago, there was a lot of so-called Negro people that were Indian fighting for their right to be recognized as an Indian. These cases add interest to the study of pedigree, but they must be considered as additional evidence of the extensive mixture of racial blood in the slave states. To the visitor in the South, the physical characteristics of many Negro slaves bore witness to their Indian origin. Again, this is from James Hugo Johnston, right? A 1937 doctoral dissertation at Virginia State University.